How's it going, everybody? Madeline from Celeste here. So today we're going to be, once again, taking a look at the crowd of people who literally don't know anything about the Souls games and don't seem to understand how they fundamentally function, or at least have a very basic grasp to the point where it makes you wonder if they've even actually played the games. And apparently this is someone that's actually in the crowd of Souls games need an easy mode, funnily enough. Wouldn't you believe it, that's apparently still an argument that's being made. Now, of course, the video itself is about like 3 or so years old, so it's a bit of an older one, but of course it's still something that, for some unknown reason, some people actually still agree with. Now, I'm gonna hit you with some sanity lore here, alright? I'm gonna hit you with some lore about myself here. Before touching Elden Ring, I actually used to look at Souls games and kind of think to myself, yeah, these games are kind of ball-bustingly difficult. Maybe adding in a somewhat easier difficulty would allow people to kind of be eased into the challenge and not get completely, like, fucked over by literally everything. Maybe just to get their feet wet before actually, you know, playing the regular mode, if you will. But after playing Elden Ring, I can safely say that, yeah, that would probably just kind of break a lot of shit when it comes to not just the game itself, but also the community surrounding just the Soul series in general, not just Elden Ring. Hell, even like Miyazaki himself, even FromSoft themselves, like whenever people ask for an easy mode, they basically state, no, fuck no, we're not going to add one. It's going to take away from the experience that everyone is going to share. Like, it's a shared experience, and that's kind of how it functions, largely because, well, the Souls games are at least partially multiplayer. But wouldn't you know it, we have someone over here that's on the side of Elden Ring and Souls games apparently need an easy mode, and, of course, the arguments are about as stupid as they come. So without any further ado, without further delay, let us sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, and let's just dive right in.
Now, when it comes to picking a difficulty mode in a video game, there's a lot of things that can go into that choice. When I'm playing Wolfenstein, for example, I put it on easy mode because it's a power fantasy. I just want to mow down Nazis and I don't want to have any trouble doing that. If I'm playing a first-person shooter, I know that's a genre that I personally struggle with, so I'll probably put it on easy mode for that. And I might play a game on easy mode just because there's another game coming out soon and I want to get through this one as quick as possible, and the easiest way to do that is with easy mode.
Well, allow me to quickly let you know something right there. Yes, I can understand your reasonings for maybe playing easy mode on some of those games. However, when it comes to a Souls game, that's kind of not what it's actually trying to go for. It's trying to go for the entire side of, well, you're up against a formidable challenge, and of course through trial and error, and through eventually figuring out how some of these, you know, powerful challenges ultimately function, you finally manage to power through and actually emerge victorious against something that you probably didn't even think you were able to actually surpass. It's something that is challenging, yet completely possible if you know what the hell you're even doing. It's a game that you're not supposed to just breeze through. It's not a game that's supposed to be a power fantasy. It's a game in which it is quite literally just the indomitable human spirit. That's just kind of how I imagine the Souls games to actually work. To try and power through and not give up against something that seems insurmountable, if you will. And that's kind of why I like it, and that's kind of the main reason why I kind of stop being on the side of Souls games need easy mode, because that would just completely take away from the entire experience of how Souls games even fucking function at the end of the day.
There's a lot of reasons why someone might want to play a game on easy mode, and I want to clear up today a misconception that I see a lot around games like Dark Souls, Cuphead, Super Meat Boy. There's this idea that adding an easy mode to those games would ruin them, because the whole point of the game is the player is supposed to be challenged, they're supposed to have a difficult time. A lot of these games are built around that idea, or they're built around that as structure. The narrative sometimes even builds around that, but I don't think that would be ruined if you gave players an easy mode.
Yeah, I'm gonna quickly stop you right there and kind of give you a little bit of an example, and I think even Sneaky Cacti himself, which is kind of the main reason why I even know about this video, funnily enough, even brought this example up himself within his own video. Like, let me give you an example here, okay? Imagine, like, you know, someone like fucking Radon, right? Radon is pretty much built up as, like, is kind of built up towards as being, like, the most powerful of all of the demigods. Hell, he even went up against fucking Melania, which is considered to be, like, the super boss of Elden Ring, at least as of right now. That is until, you know, Shadow of the Erdtree comes out and we have to deal with fucking Mesmer, but, well, we'll deal with that crossroad when that comes. But, like, we're talking about someone like Radahn over here, who's built up to be an extremely powerful, like, one of the most powerful demigods that you're going to be facing up against. Pretty much considered to be the strongest of the demigods in canon. And, of course, even though it is already hinted at that he is being eaten away by fucking Scarlet Rot, he is still extremely ferocious and still extremely powerful, even despite all that. And, of course, his boss fight completely matches that, with him being an absolute fucking monolith of a boss fight that will definitely not go down without some actual effort. And of course, if you were to make an easy mode version of that, that would completely, you know, kind of make Radahn's entire build-up completely for naught, because, it would have turned what was originally an insurmountable challenge that, you know, not even, like, the strongest of warriors, not even the strongest of the soldiers of Rot could take down, into something that is just trivial at the end of the day. Like, something that apparently was attempting to be done time and time again with Radahn festivals and shit like that, is just kind of turned into a fucking wet sneeze of a fight, and that's really about it. And that would kind of take away from the entire experience of a lot of different things. Sorry about that long tangent, I just kind of wanted to go into that because, well, I mean, yeah.
So, here's the basis of the argument. The Dark Souls series is often summarised best as being about carrying on when things get tough. The tone and the setting are bleak, death is expected to be frequent, and one of the things people love about the game is overcoming a boss so powerful you thought you'd never get past it. It's a game about not giving up when things look their worst, and a number of players out there will argue that adding an easy mode would undermine this core gameplay and narrative experience.
That's literally exactly what I just said. I wonder how you're going to somehow argue against this.
If nothing in Dark Souls kills you because the game's too easy, is that stripping the player of experiencing aspects of the narrative the creators intended? So, let's get this out the way. I don't think that anyone who argues for Dark Souls, or Super Meat Boy, or Cuphead to get an easy mode is saying that that should be the only way to play the game. I think that everyone, whether they enjoy these games' current level of difficulty or not, can see that this level of difficulty does offer something valuable to a lot of players. Don't worry, we're not arguing that you should have to play on easy mode. We're not taking hard mode away from you. If what you're worried about is that saying I beat Dark Souls won't mean as much if there's an easy mode, just specify what difficulty you beat it on. Your get good gamer cred won't be impacted if you say I beat it on hard mode.
But here's the thing, it would take away the experience of a lot of people who quite literally have kind of almost built their careers off of literally beating the hardest that some of these Souls games even have to offer. It would completely strip away the very essence of the games themselves, just from a fundamental level, if you don't give a shit about the community. It would basically take away a lot of different aspects of just like the core components of not just the lore of Dark Souls, as well as any of its offshoots, but it would just it would completely fuck over like a lot of the balance, and it would kind of ruin the entire, I guess, how the game is kind of supposed to be played at the end of the day. Like, it's supposed to be an equal experience for everybody. Everybody gets the same level of challenge at the end of the day. And that's kind of how Dark Souls and the Souls games are supposed to work. It's an equal opportunity shitfest at the end of the day. You're getting screwed equally. That's kind of how it works, if you want to look at it that way. Like, that's Dark Souls for you. If you were to suddenly add in an easy mode, then people would be getting completely different experiences, and it just kind of wouldn't make it the same exact game.
But what I really want to focus on today is this incorrect idea that creating an optional easy mode in these kind of games is something that players are only pushing for because they don't want games to challenge them. Quite the opposite. Many players, myself included, sometimes want easy difficulty modes so that they can have the same challenging experience that you're already having with Dark Souls or Cuphead or Super Meat Boy.
But you quite literally wouldn't be getting the exact same challenging experience that everybody else is getting if you were playing on fucking easy mode. That's the reason why it would even be called easy mode. It would be an easier experience. It would... This quote doesn't fucking make sense.
We want a challenge that knocks us over again and again, but feels just achievable enough to push through and achieve.
That's already how the Souls games and I guess Super Meat Boy already function. It is just achievable enough for people to be able to do it if they aren't fucking pussies. Like, that's just, like, I hate to be that guy. I hate to be that guy, right? I hate to be that guy that unironically says get good, but that is literally the MO of these kinds of games. You have to get good, otherwise otherwise you're gonna fuck up. Like, that's how it works. Like, I hate to be that kind of toxic douchebag, but, like, that's Dark Souls!
Rather than something that feels impossibly above our skill ceiling. We want a challenge that's tough, but achievable. Many players like myself sometimes want an easy mode that isn't a total walk in the park. And before you say that I just suck at games and I just want everything watered down for me, 2 of the 3 examples I have in here, Dark Souls and Cuphead, are games I've beaten.
I am genuinely wondering about at least one of these 2. I mean, you've probably beaten at least Cuphead, I can't really say for certain. But Dark Souls, like... Again, I'm really even wondering if you've even touched the game and if this gameplay is even yours, because if you know anything about Dark Souls, then you would know just how dumb a fucking easy mode would actually be.
There are other games that I want easy modes for, so that I can be challenged and have it completable. But it's not just that I suck at games, it's sometimes a specific game is tough in a specific way, and I need just a little bit easier to have the same challenging experience you're having.
That doesn't make any sense at all. That literally does not... What are you fucking talking about? Like, this is the second time so far that I'm just asking what you're even talking about. That line does not make any sense. An easier time to get the same level of challenge. That is an oxymoronic statement if I've ever fucking heard of one. Like, that is 2 different sides of a coin right there that you're trying to equate to... What are you saying?
Before anyone thinks like Cuphead has an easy mode already. Cuphead has an easy mode that does not let you progress through the game. It's not really an easy mode. You can't play it at reduced difficulty and progress to play the next part of the game or reduced difficulty. It's not quite the same thing. Part of the issue here is the traditional naming nomenclature we use to discuss difficulty modes, and the way it presents what players want from a game. Easy as a difficulty mode suggests that you want an easy time, free of challenge. It suggests the end goal is to take difficulty out of the equation. I don't want this to be hard. Would a change to calling easy mode easier mode, or something similar to that, fix this issue?
Not entirely, because again, it would still be devaluing a lot of the experience when it actually comes to Souls games and any kinds of challenging games that have a baseline default difficulty level that exists for all players involved. Did we play the same Dark Souls? Did you play the same Dark Souls that everybody else did? Because I'm genuinely wondering.
Other than that, there are games like Celeste or Sayonara Wild Hearts that don't strictly have an easy mode, but allow players to avoid optional dangerous areas, skip sections they simply can't seem to pass, or tweak specific character data to momentarily help themselves get past a section.
Well, you see, allow me to quickly let you know the main difference between those 2, because I at least have, once again, experience with at least one of these things, and that is, of course, Celeste. Which I'm probably using as probably some background footage, or probably it's already passed by now. I have no fucking idea. I'll probably work on it when I actually get to editing. But I at least have experience with Celeste. Want to know the main difference between Celeste and the entire Dark Souls series? Celeste is single player! Like, Celeste is literally a single player game that does not have a flatline difficulty mode for all players involved, because it's single player. There's no co-op mode, there's no multiplayer involved. When it comes to the Souls series, there's at least some level of multiplayer involved. Hell, you can even just straight up get multiplayer. You can get multiplayer against other players in PvP. Now, of course, while most people probably don't really play Souls games for the PvP, they at least understand to an extent that Dark Souls and the Souls series is at least multiplayer. After all, people leave messages behind, there's the bloodstains and whatnot that allow you to see how people ended up eating shit. Like, that's just kind of how the games ultimately function. You can tell that it's multiplayer just by some of those basic aspects. And of course, it's also a nice little indication that everybody is getting just as equally fucked as you are. I just don't understand what it is that... why are you trying to... Not only are you comparing 2 different game genres, but you're also comparing 2 different game styles at the exact same time. Like... Of course, Celeste would have an easier mode that exists within the fucking game, which I didn't bother to play because, well, let's be honest here, 1, I didn't even know about it, and 2, I just kind of felt like going in with the baseline difficulty stuff already active. It just doesn't make any sense. I just don't understand.
As I said before, there's a lot of different reasons someone might play an easy mode in a game. But let's get past this notion that picking an easy mode means someone doesn't want to experience challenge. Everyone's skill level is different, and skill levels differ from game to game. Choosing to give myself a little extra time in Celeste occasionally doesn't mean I didn't challenge myself, and it didn't take away from my enjoyment of that game's narrative about overcoming difficult experiences.
Well, that's largely because, well, Well, one, Celeste's entire storyline of overcoming, difficulty is very different from the Souls series idea of tackling that. Again, first of all, you did in fact give yourself an easier time when it came to Celeste, and you did take away some of the challenge that the game actually provided. I mean, I hate to be the one to flex nuts here, but I literally beat the entire game without altering a goddamn setting whatsoever, largely because I didn't even know that those settings existed, and even if I did, I probably still wouldn't have fucking used them because I wouldn't really care enough. But on top of that too, again, Celeste and the Souls series are completely different fucking games in terms of how they tackle literally fucking anything, so I don't even know what you're trying to... What are you trying to say here? The amount of mental gymnastics within this entire video is unbelievable. Like, you would have won an Olympic fucking gold medal just by creating this fucking video and presenting it to the judges. You would have been in the first place runner-ups right there, eating that fucking gold medal like it owed you goddamn money. Like, that's just how I imagine it would look, because this is hurting my fucking brain.
My playing the game that way didn't impact anyone else's experience, or change my perception of that game's challenge-based narrative.
Yes, that's largely because of the fact that Celeste is single-player and not multiplayer like the Souls series. Please, try to pay attention here.
We need to get over this notion that if someone picks an easy mode, they don't want to be challenged. A lot of people just want the same experience you're having. They want to experience Dark Souls the way you have, where you try again, you try again, you try again, you're knocked down, and you eventually progress.
And you can literally get that just by playing the game normally as it already is presented. No easy mode required. Adding in an easy mode or an easier mode would completely take away from that, regardless of just how much easier it really is. Because again, it would be a fundamentally different experience compared to the experiences of literally everybody else who played the game on its default setting, if that is how the game was presented. Like, I just don't understand it. We're just going to end off the video right here. That's just kind of how it ends for the most part. The last, 30 or so seconds, I don't really care enough to get into. But yeah, that's basically it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please consider leaving a like. That's very well appreciated. Leave a comment down below what you thought about the video, what you want me to talk about next, and also subscribe to the channel if you're new and you want to see more content such as this. Also, go ahead and follow me on Twitter, and join the Discord server down below if you feel like doing so. And yeah, anyways guys, this has been Sandy, and have yourselves a nice day.